create systems-level change to advance outcomes and achieve economic mobility for all students. ImpactTulsa focuses on 6 education outcomes, including kindergarten readiness, 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, high school graduation, and post-secondary entry and completion. Today's presentation centers on the latter part of that cradle to career continuum, namely high school graduation and post-secondary enrollment with the goal of completion. Now, a little bit about the ICAP. The ICAP is an individual career academic plan that helps high school students map out and take the necessary steps to be successful after they graduate high school. Starting in 9th grade, or even earlier in some cases, students work with their school counselors to do things like create a plan that leads to college or career goals, learn about potential careers that match a student's interests, enroll in the right courses like AP, dual enrollment, or internships that align with the student's goals, stay on track for graduation, prepare for college or workforce programs, and do things like enrollment, financial aid applications, etc. And finally, participate in in-service learning and workplace environment activities during high school. ICAP tasks are completed and submitted digitally, and instructions for submission are provided by the student's teacher, college and career coach, or counselor. The ICAP came from a few different pieces of Oklahoma legislation. For more information about these bills, you can go to the link in the chat box, which I am placing right now. Oklahoma is not the only state that requires students to complete an ICAP before graduation. In fact, at least 43 other states have individual learning plans similar to the ICAP. To learn more about what ICAPs include, access the Oklahoma Edge website. You see the URL on the slide, www.okedge.com. That's a website that is hosted by the Office of College and Career Readiness at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. So why is ICAP so important? Life beyond high school requires different and ever-changing competencies. By 2025, 3 of 4 Oklahoma jobs will require education or training beyond high school. During the ICAP process, students discover the pathways that fit their unique talents and learn what academic preparation and experiences will prepare them for in-demand careers, some of which may not even exist when they graduate from high school. When students complete a meaningful ICAP process, they connect the relevance of education to their future goals. They create secondary and post-secondary course plans to pursue their career and life goals. They strategically select a post-secondary pathway to align with self-defined college, career, and life goals. They establish better communication and engagement between school and home. And they understand and demonstrate career exploration and career planning. You'll notice that the word goals appears frequently in this list. Hold that in your mind, because in just a few moments, you'll learn from Ms. Evans about an incredible tool that she designed to support student goal setting. Here is a link to a one-pager from the Oklahoma State Department with more information and an ICAP, and then also an ICAP 101 blog post from ImpactTulsa. I will put those in the chat box right now. Educators know that preparation for life after high school doesn't just start during senior year. It begins as early as elementary school with field trips and guest speakers, and then in middle school with job visits, and eventually in high school with volunteer experiences and internships. All of these things include more than just educators. They require the involvement of community members, post-secondary institutions, businesses, and workforce institutions, and we're so excited to be talking about it with all of you today. Before I pass it off to Ms. Evans, I do want to acknowledge and share appreciation for a team of people who have been working together since the end of last year to plan upcoming ICAP chats and an ICAP convening, which will be happening in the fall. More details will be coming soon. We're so fortunate to have Marissa Lightsey, Executive Director of College and Career Readiness, and Chelsea Hunt, Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Engagement, both of whom are leading the ICAP work at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. Many of the individuals on this list, including Ms. Evans, come from ICAP pilot districts and have years of learning and experience with ICAP that they will share with you in the upcoming meetings. The purpose of these chats is to bring districts together and to share what's working well with ICAP implementation across districts. This week, we'll start by highlighting practices implemented in Union Public Schools. I'm now incredibly honored to introduce Ms. Estella Evans, an incredible leader in education. Her career as an educator has spanned over 2 decades in both elementary and middle school. She's currently the assistant principal at the Union Freshman Academy. As an assistant principal, Ms. Evans engages students from the perspective of academic aspirations within the framework of the district's overarching goal of 100% graduation, college, and career ready. Ms. Evans strives to create a culture of students who are engaged, empowered, and individually equipped with the necessary knowledge, tools, and practices to achieve graduation. She's created a number of different goal-setting tools that have supported students in moving on from 9th grade with full credit sufficiency and who are prepared to work toward graduation. She'll be sharing a few of these tools today. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Evans, Assistant Principal at the Union Freshman Academy. Take it away.
Okay, good afternoon to you all. I want to thank Laura and ImpactTulsa for the opportunity to share the goal-setting action planning process as it pertains to Oklahoma's individual career academic plan. Now a little bit about me. I have a bachelor's of education of elementary education from Oral Roberts University and a master's degree in teaching, learning, and leadership from Oklahoma State University. I've taught for several years in Tulsa Public Schools, and as an educator, I realized that everything I know, I learned from my students. So they taught me how to teach them what they needed. I began as a first grade teacher. My first grade students taught me that they needed a solid foundation on which they could build. From my older students, I learned to provide them with the transitional skills they would need to be successful at the next level. These lessons came in handy when I joined the freshman team as an assistant principal for Union Public Schools. Union's goal is 100% graduation, college, and career ready. So the driving question for me became, how can I make sure every student, 100% of them, had a solid foundation and the transitional skills they needed to achieve graduation and college and career readiness. My search for the answer to these questions led to the creation of the goal-setting action planning process, some of which I'll be sharing this afternoon. So GSAP was an evolution. When I came to Union and their goal was 100% graduation, college, and career ready, my thought process was how am I gonna make this happen for 100% of my freshmen? So it was a process that evolved into the transcript pinwheel, which I'll be discussing in a few. The process started with me just providing signage all around the building, keep it above sea level. Make sure your credit's sufficient. GPA is very important. Just signage around the building so that when the kids travel the hall, they would always be mindful of what they needed to be working on. I couldn't tell how effective that was, so I took it to the next level and I created a freshman survival guide. It's just like any guide that kind of guides the students through the process of being a freshman student and how they will take what they learn in freshman year to help them navigate the rest of their high school career. Well, I didn't know how effective that was because some might read, some might not. So then I took it to the next level, and I would call students who were receiving D's and F's on their progress reports in for what I called a GPA forum. But even that was limited in the number of students that I was reaching. So the GSAP came out of, the transcript pinwheel came out of frustration and the need to make sure that I was meeting the needs of 100% of my freshmen. So in the school year 2016, the transcript pinwheel made its appearance. It was created and implemented. It's a goal setting tool. So I wanted to make sure that from day one, the students were engaged, the students were empowered, that they were goal setters, and that they understood in order to achieve the goals they set, they had to write an action plan. Now, if you look in the circle at the first two things under the GSAP, student engagement and empowerment, this is that foundational tool that my first graders taught me about. Goal setting and action planning, those are the transitional skills that students will need in moving to the next level. And those are skills that are life skills. They'll use that to finish out high school, college, any activities they do engage in as adults. They will need to set a goal and write a plan. So 4 years afterwards, which is this last past year, we implemented the individual career academic plan, which if you look at both of those circles, you find that what the requirements or what we would like our students to take away are very, very similar. So in the ICAP, it is student-driven. It encourages student empowerment. It teaches them how to develop individual goals and then to write a personal plan to achieve those goals. Both plans enable building student capacity. Now, when I say building, I think in terms of cultivating, because capacity is already in the student. All we should do as educators is help them see that. And the way we do that is to nurture what's in there, teach them, give them the tools they need to be successful, and nurture them through the process of internalizing it and using those tools to benefit them in the future. Okay, so the question was, how do I reach 100% of my freshman students? And the solution was transcript pinwheel, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So everything I do, I have to have a purpose, a rationale behind why I'm doing it. I joined a new church, and I would go some Sundays and sometimes I would miss. Just how I felt when I woke up in the morning on Sunday is whether I would go to church or not. And then one Sunday, the pastor sat down with us and he went through a PowerPoint sharing with us his heart, the mission and the vision of the church. And I have been attending, now that I had those tools, I have been attending regularly. It would take a major catastrophe for me not to be in church on Sunday. So everything I do has to have a purpose and a why. And so I wanted to bring that into this tool for my students. So the why or the purpose of the transcript pinwheel was to engage and empower the students from day one of entering freshman year. I didn't want any time to lapse and then students have to play catch up. And then I wanted to build student capacity in the format of the life skills of goal setting and action planning. So that's the purpose. How was I going to do this? Through awareness of academic terms. Students come into freshman year lacking vocabulary knowledge of what they know what a GPA is sort of. They have a vague understanding. They have a vague understanding of credits and what transcripts are. I think the driving force for me to create this tool came from students at the end of their freshman year not understanding what a GPA was, not understanding what their transcript was and why it was important. So I wanted to teach them to be intentional about setting goals and then writing a plan to achieve those goals. I often say a goal without a plan is just a wish. So I encourage my students to not wish, to set a goal so that they can achieve, and make a plan so that they can achieve those goals. And what were we going to do to accomplish the how and the why? We were going to use the transcript pinwheel 8 times per year, and I'll go into detail about that. We're going to set goals, and we're going to be honest and purposeful about the goals that we set. And I'll go into that a little bit soon. Action planning, and a lot of that are skills that they have to learn in order to be successful in achieving their goals, such as time management and study plans, tutoring, those kinds of things. And I wanted them to have a sense of achievement, of having achieved their personal best on their transcripts. Okay, so the biggest thing that bothered me, I think, about being an administrator at the freshman level was the students' inability to understand the space that they were in their academic careers. So what I wanted to do with this tool was dispel all the I don't knows of being in high school. So with each progress report, it would provide the students and the parents a picture of the student effort. After they go through the process of engaging with the transcript pinwheel, they take a picture of their goals, they take a picture of their action plan with their phones, and when they go home, that progress report now becomes an interactive tool. They can show their parents their actual GPA, they can show their parents the goals that they've set for the next progress report, and they can show their parents the plan that they have to achieve those goals. This empowers the students with working knowledge of essential academic language and demystifies the hidden curriculum. And I define the hidden curriculum as the skills that students need to navigate high school that won't necessarily be found in a biology book per se. So these are the GPA and credit sufficiency and those things that we know as adults and educators that they need to successfully navigate high school. But at freshman level, I found that several of them didn't have those tools in order to be successful high school students. They kind of were here doing what was expected of them mostly and not knowing the why. So I like to encourage students to determine and know what happens next in their educational journey. What I found with ninth graders is that if it pertains to them specifically, it has meaning to them. If you do a general talk on GPA and you use a sample GPA for them, that's somebody else. But when you take their grades and put it right in front of them, and this is specifically for them, it changes the whole way they interact with the tool. So this is the transcript pinwheel, the pride and joy of my existence, simply because I feel as it's been a very effective tool in reaching our young adults and helping them achieve the goals that I know that they want. The first part of the transcript pinwheel is a rationale for them. And so this is a folder. The transcript pinwheel is a folder. and this is what we present to our freshman students the first week of their freshman year. And outside of the folder is the why, the rationale. It's the what, how high school works. It's the how high school works, and it's the what do we need to do to achieve success in high school. So on this folder, at the top it says name and class. I always like to make sure they're constantly interacting with class so that they know I am the class of, and this is what I need to know so that I can map out how to get to class of whatever year that is, in this case, 2023. Okay, so this is the inside of the folder. And what we would do is, once they fold the folder in half and then they open it up, they'll start at the very top where it says class of. Again, that's introducing so that the students understand, this is my goal, this is where I want to be. They write their name, they write this year's goal. What goal do you have for yourself this whole year? That could be, I want to get straight A's. That could be, I want to pass all my classes, whatever they decide their goal is for this year. Future goal could be future as in where would I like to be this time next year, or where would I like to go to college? It could be any of those things. At 14, 15, and sometimes 16, young adults are not quite sure, so I offer them the opportunity to put in that space 10th grade. Because what I do know is that they definitely want to achieve 10th grade. The boxes right below that information section just talks a little bit about, it's a key to complete the transcript pinwheel. So there's, the students will deal with actual goals, grade goals, and goal grades. So they have actual grades and then goal grades. The next box is the scale for how you calculate GPA, and then the next box shows them specifically how to, gives them the directions on how to calculate their GPA. On the other portion that says goal setting, action planning, the first square or rectangle is used the first week of school. As you can see, it says week 1 there. In this space, the students reflect on 8th grade. And they think in terms of how well they did in science in 8th grade. Say in 8th grade, they had a C. Then they set a goal for 1 letter grade higher and say by the first progress report of 9th grade, I'd like to have a B. And then they do the same for math, English, social studies, and their electives. Once they put the grades in those parentheses, they calculate the GPA using the calculation instructions on the opposite page, and they put that calculation at the very top of the box that says goal GPA. And then they write a little plan under each one of those subject areas on how they're going to achieve that goal. Then they go back over to the circle, and you'll notice right next to the listing of subjects, there's a box. On the first box under GPA, they put their goal GPA. And when they receive the first progress report, which is indicated by the first spoke in the wheel, the first, right, where it says 4.5 weeks, right, the 4.5 week spoke, they will calculate their actual GPA, and then they will make a correlation between what they wanted to get and what they actually achieved. They place the GPA, the actual GPA in the box under GPA on the other side, up right there, right. And now they have 2, one that they wanted, their goal GPA, and their actual GPA. They check to see did they exceed their goal, or is there more work to be done? So on that same spoke, on the opposite side of the spoke, they put down a grade they'd like to achieve, and I encourage them to go with 1 letter grade higher so that they can see the growth. If they have a D in biology and then they decide, I want to I want to get an A in biology. Oftentimes, if they don't achieve it at that next progress, then they think the whole plan doesn't work. And that's why I tell them step it up one level at a time. So if they got a C, then they would choose to get a B. Once they've set their goal GPAs, they calculate their GPA for the next 4.5 weeks, and they place that in the box right there. That's the goal GPA. Then on the opposite side, they put that goal on the goal setting action plan portion of the, on it, right. They put that goal at the very top in that box, and then they write a plan to achieve that goal. So this is the process that they do throughout the whole wheel. Every spoke, they calculate their actual GPA. They set a goal for 1 letter grade higher. They calculate their goal GPA, and then they write an action plan to achieve those goals. When they get to transcript, and that's the solid black line down the middle, they will write, for the first semester, they will write their first semester actual transcript GPA. Then they will set a goal on the right on the spoke, they will write the actual transcript GPA, right? Then they will set a goal for 1 letter grade higher. So if they got a C in science, 2 letter grade higher for the next transcript. If they got a C in science, then they're going to be working toward maybe making an A by the end of the year. So they would make those plans all the way through to the end, and then they start that process all over again from the top, going from the top of the wheel all the way around. And then I teach my students, when you say to yourself, I want to get straight A's at the beginning of your freshman year, even though you might not have done as well in your 8th grade year, it's possible if every time you get a progress report, you set a goal for 1 letter grade higher, and this is how it's possible for you to achieve straight A's, or A's, B's, and C's, and no D's. I also share with my students the achievement formula. I tell them it's very important that you know who you are, you know what you want to achieve, times hard work equals your achievement. So saying I'm Estella Evans and I want a Maserati and that's it, is not going to make anything happen. You have to know that you have to work hard, you have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, and then you have to, that's how you achieve that. So then I focus them into where they are specifically. You are a freshman. What do you want? You want to be a sophomore within a year's time. How do you get there? Hard work, which will equal credit sufficiency, which is a big deal here at our freshman academy, because we understand that if they have to go to their sophomore year with unfinished business from freshman year, it just makes that journey that much harder for them. So what we like to encourage our students here at the Freshman Academy to do is make sure that they pass all of their classes with A's, B's, C's. We don't like D's, but D's are passing. I often tell my students, D's are like doors closing to opportunities. So let's make sure we're getting A's, B's, and C's. In the creation of the transcript pinwheel, I came across this meme and I just absolutely love it. When we do our transcript pinwheel with our students, this meme actually appears on the folder and it says, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. So all of those components are a big part of how the transcript pinwheel works. It almost was like it was created just for the transcript pinwheel. Well, I know that's not true, but Okay, so I wanted to share a few of the product reviews, a few of the comments that students made about students, teachers, counselors, and administration have made about the transcript pinwheel. I get my grades up by using the transcript pinwheel. It helps me to look, learn, and manage my time and do whatever it takes to pull my grades up. The transcript pinwheel helps me know what I need and how to accomplish my goals. The next slide. Those are comments from the students, which I always appreciate because it's a tool for them. And when they can share out to me that it's working, I like to hear that. This is a comment from a teacher. Thank you for this idea of keeping the students focused on their own success and driving the issue of excellence at this site. I had a very productive time with my second hour students, and all of them seemed not only interested, but engaged. That was one of the goals, engaged empowerment. The counselor stated, it allows for progress report adjustments of action plans to meet their goal, their GPA goal, and it empowers students to construct a growth mindset. It empowers students' self-reflection as an intrinsic motivator. What I'd like to say right here is our administrators at this site have been very instrumental in making sure to carve out specific time for our students to engage with their goals and their action plans. When we first introduced the transcript pinwheel in 2016, at the end of second hour, which was the hour that the students received their progress report, the students were given 10 minutes to calculate their actual GPA, set a goal GPA, and write a plan. As of this year, we implemented advisory, and it's every Wednesday. Advisory is 30 minutes. So now instead of just 10 minutes, the students have an actual 30-minute segment to really delve into some things that they can do to be the master of their own destinies. So I know I went through that kind of quickly. If you have any questions, I also wanted to share that if you begin with tools such as ICAP and GSAP that engage and empower students, then you are providing them what they need so that they can feel a sense of achievement and accomplishment.
Thank you so much, Estella. Gosh, my wheels are turning and I have so many thoughts and ideas about ICAP. And the thing that I kept hearing and coming back to was the belief in student capacity and engagement and empowerment. So recognizing the power of the student to take ownership of the process of going through high school, to have the tools and that hidden curriculum or that the lingo that educators tend to use and assume that students understand, empowering them with that knowledge so that they can go forward and they can adjust and they can course correct whenever maybe they get a grade that's not what they were hoping for. This is such a cool tool that you've created and aligns so neatly with the aspects of ICAP that focus on goals. So we've already got a couple of questions in the chat box. I'll kind of help to moderate this, this time. Let's see here. So our first question is from Tara. Sounds like they will use the pinwheel and advisory going forward. How and when did they complete them before? Where are the pinwheels kept after kids complete them? The advisory teacher, counselor office. So really the big question is who's helping students and facilitating these conversations for students in completing the pinwheel?
Okay, so the pinwheel, once the students receive their pinwheel, which they get the first week of school, they fill in all the necessary information, and then they fold it up and they give it back to their second hour or their advisory teacher, and it stays there. But The reason why I wanted to make sure that when they calculated their GPA and they had a plan as well, they take a picture of it with their phones. The reason why I wanted that is so that they can always have their goal in front of them. Yes, they leave the folder with their second hour teacher, but they have all that information in their phone. I did say I want to get a B in biology, so this is how I said I would do it. Let me make sure I'm keeping up with that information.
And with having those images on their phones, does that make it easier for them to have conversations at home?
Yes, that was the purpose for them taking the picture. Once they complete the process, the whole run through, actual grade GPA, goal grade GPA, action plan, they take their progress report, which in past times has been trash, or it finds its way in their backpack, never to be seen again. Now they have a tool that they can use where they take their progress report and they take out their phone and they can have these interactive conversations with their parents. It eases the whole angst that parents have with their students being in freshman year, because we as adults know exactly where they are. But oftentimes being a 14-year-old, it's just like, what? Okay. So this helps the parents say, okay, I see, my baby knows what a GPA is. My baby can calculate and set a goal for 1 letter grade higher. My baby has a plan to achieve their goal. This is phenomenal. And then even if they don't have very good grades, still the notion that they're planning to move at 1 letter grade eases that angst that parents have. And this, in a sense, draws parents into that parent involvement piece, because it's not just a student navigating, it's the family navigating high school.
Thanks so much. There's a question from Cassandra. How is your district monitoring the completion of ICAP for the grades mandated in regard to transcripting completion? And I'm going to kind of piggyback on that and also add, is Union using like OK Career Guide or OK College Start or Naviance, what platform? And then how does that translate into transcripts?
Okay, so Union is using OK Start, and I mentioned advisory before. Our advisory time is Wednesday, once a week, and during that time, we one of our strategic goals is SEL, social emotional learning. So on Wednesday during advisory, we have some Wednesdays that are designated for ICAP, some Wednesdays that are designated for GSAP, goal setting action planning, and some Wednesdays that are dedicated to social emotional learning. So during the Wednesday advisory is when we address the requirement for freshmen in the ICAP planning.
Awesome. And then we had a question, will you share this PowerPoint? We can definitely, everyone who registered, we have your email address and can share resources that we shared with you today. I want to elevate something that Mary mentioned. Estella does mean all students. Actually, Mary, do you want to chime in with your comment?
Laura, you were doing great there. I'm the English Learners Program Coordinator for Union, and we house our newcomer center at the Freshman Academy. And to watch our newcomer students navigate this, it gives control to them over a situation that feels very out of control sometimes. So it's just been fantastic. It's a wonderful tool to create independent learners, which of course is the goal. So I love this tool.
We have some folks joining us on the phone, and those of you who are on the phone probably can't type in your chat box. So I want to provide an opportunity for you to chime in if you have a question or if you would like to make a comment so that we can hear your voice. Anybody on the phone, if you want to add, just chime in. And we have another question in the chat box. Cassandra asked, what does your ICAP plan look like for the 10th graders? And then for this coming year?
Well, what we did for our freshmen is still had the same requirement, because we understand that ICAP, though COVID's happened, ICAP is still something that's going to be relevant for them moving forward. So there are I think there are 3 indicators that freshmen were supposed to complete while they were in their freshman year. And we encouraged our students to complete those aspects of the ICAP planning. And when they matriculate to 10th grade, we don't share a building. We're a standalone building as a freshman academy. When they matriculate to 10th grade, then the counselors and administrators at that level take them through the portions of the ICAP that they need to complete as 10th graders and 11th graders and 12th graders.
Thanks so much, Estella. We have some great comments in the chat box. Hope everybody's getting to look at those. Hope said, excellent, I have 2 union lifers. This is a great plan. My first lifer is 24, my second is progressing to 10th grade. She is very much on board with this plan. Hope, did you want to add anything out loud about your experience?
Yes, I can say something out loud.
Awesome.
Yes. First of all, like I said, we at Union, we call them lifers, which is a good thing. That means they were been there from maybe kindergarten all the way through 12. And my first lifer, like I said, this plan, even before it was rolled out to this, it was spoken with him. It wasn't even on paper, but it was spoken in my ear as well. And I had an aha moment. And from that moment, I was teaching it then and I got it. But by the time, because my children are 8 years apart, as you can see, my daughter's on it. I mean, she knows more than I do. And it's a wonderful plan. It gives them respect, and she knows. And all I can say, I'm just oozing. I have so much to say, but this is the greatest thing ever. Every school, from not Union, it should be shared. And like I said, with these children, because we're aging and this is our future and our children are smart. I'm going to be burned here. I want them to take care of me, not just my children, but the children who are coming up in Oklahoma. And this is going to get them there. This is going to get them there to take care of our state and where we love to live. I'm a transplant and I love it here. And I want these kiddos, and if they get on board with this, and I'm sure a lot of them are like, typical, but this is awesome. I mean, that's all I can say. And like I said, with having 2 lifers, I mean, my third one, he's half a lifer, but I think if he would have had this or this plan that Miss Evans has had, it would have been an easier ride, because like I said, there's so many, it's no one way to get to this. And like I said, mine is going to go again. My oldest lifer, he ended up going through the alternative, but he still used this plan. It just isn't for the kids who go through like the regular steps. But he still got through, and he went through, and he's gliding. He's doing wonderful. He's a wonderful human, a wonderful adult. I can say I'm proud of, and moving on. And it's because of this type of foundation. And he still, as 24, write down these things, his goals and what he needs to have. And he learned that right here at Union. Okay, I'm done.
Wow. Thank you so much, Hope. Wow. That is really incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and how your students have felt empowered as they've gone through their educational experience at Union. Any other partners at other districts want to chime in with thoughts or ideas? Again, we want to create space to have cross-district collaboration, and there are really cool ideas popping up at lots of different sites and districts. If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that. Or if you want to make a comment, feel free.
Hi, this is Erin Fivecoats. I'm the assistant principal at the Owasso 7th grade center. Thank you for your presentation. So far, I've got my wheels spinning too. Wanted to know, I love the goal setting plan, especially for 7th graders. You know, they seem like they're so far away from graduation, and you know, I think that we're trying our best to get them sparked in different areas. With that in mind, what does that plan look like for your 7th graders?
Well, I don't have, well, I do have a plan for seventh graders, for sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, but it doesn't look like this. Because sixth graders are so young, it's a color-coded plan. And it's kind of hard to describe without the visual, but it's just A's are a certain color, B's are a certain color, and then they set a goal using those colors, and they write a plan to achieve those goals. And at the end of the year or at the end of a semester, they can look at their color blocks and see how well their colors are looking. If I think in the plan, F's are like red and D's are orange. So what I try to encourage them to do, I haven't had an opportunity to put it to work. I would love to. What we would encourage them to do is make sure that their color blocks look a lot blue, green, and yellows. So this way they can see their success colorfully. And then the transcript pinwheel moves them to the next level so that it's not as simple or not as easy to see.
Shelley also said in the chat box, as a middle school counselor, I'd love to see the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade plans if you don't mind sharing. And Shelley, actually, if you can privately message me your email address, I'll make sure to follow up with both you and Estella. And want to provide an opportunity for anyone else to answer Erin and also Shelley's questions about the 6th grade plans or 7th grade plans. What are some things that other districts are doing that are really successful?
Hi, Laura.
Hey, Jenna.
Hey, it's Gina. Thanks for letting me kind of crash on. I know that I'm not in the Tulsa district, but I love everything that you guys are talking about. And we have been incorporating a lot of the ICAP programs into our middle school and actually into our curriculum. So, for example, as a composition teacher, you know, they're learning how to write resumes, they're following the ICAP procedures, they're doing infographic presentations about future careers. They're taking the interest tests and really kind of focusing on the things that are going to get them ready for high school and having those conversations about what it's going to take to get to the career path that I want to achieve. And so even though we're just kind of piloting a lot of those programs, we're finding that the kids are buying into it and there is a lot of success and they're really excited. And we just absolutely love it.
Gina, thank you so much for sharing, and I'm sorry that I mispronounced your name. That's so exciting and so cool that, as mentioned before, getting ready for life after high school cannot start senior year, but has to start way earlier than that. And so coming up with these strategies to start talking about things like, graduation and what job and career do students want to go into as early as 6th grade is so crucial. There's a great question, and I'm actually going to defer to Estella on this one. Cassandra asked, can we order an editable copy of the transcript pinwheel? Estella, can I share your email address in the chat box?
Sure. Yes, you can. And yes, you can.
Cool. We'll get you connected with that resource, Cassandra. Estella, we have about 4 minutes before we do our close up. Is there anything else that you'd like to share or anything that has sort of bubbled up as there been questions posed and things like that?
Well, the last speaker, I like that she mentioned that her students are engaged. I think we as adults often limit what our students what they're capable of doing, thinking, oh, they're 6th graders. I think that if we put it in front of them and tell them, I believe in you, and I believe that you can accomplish great things. And I'm going to give you some tools to put in your tool belt so that you can take these not just through 6th grade, but through life so that you can be successful. They will grab hold and they will make it happen. It's just that giving them the tools and encouraging them to believe in themselves. I'm going to tell this one last story and then I'll make it quick. Okay, so I'm a first grade teacher, first entry into being an educator. And I had 3 reading groups, and I told my top reading group, that's the way we did it way back in the day when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. That's when I became an educator. I said to my top group, if you memorize your lines, you have 1 week. If you memorize your lines, then I will provide the props, I will provide the costumes, and we're going to put on this play for the whole school. Now remember, these are first graders. I didn't know if I could do that for the whole school, but I didn't think I would have to because they were first graders. There's no way they're going to be able to memorize all these lines. So on Friday morning, I sat down with my group and I said, they came with their books because when we went with groups, we always brought our books. And I said, no books. So they put their books away and I had my book out. Imagine my surprise when I said, okay, and they just went through the whole play. It was just so amazing. And that was when I learned about student capacity. I don't get, as an adult, to decide what they can handle. I'm gonna give them all the tools that I know to share with them. And I'm gonna let them pick those tools up as they see fit and use them. So end of the story, of course I had to find props, make masks and costumes. This is just me, and I had 20 first graders. And we put on the play and the principal let us do it for the whole school. So it was amazing. But that's what I meant when I said my students have taught me what they need. And so I just constantly, as an educator, every day, every year, listen to what it is that they're asking me to teach them.
Whew, that was powerful. I have goosebumps. I don't know about you guys. That was incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From the entire team at ImpactTulsa, we want to thank Estella for being with us today. Want to share a little bit of information about our next ICAP Chat, which will feature Kim Cootie, principal at Glenpool High School. That presentation will be about implementing ICAP, and it's going to be on June 25th at 10 a.m. To register, follow the ImpactTulsa Facebook page for more details. I will put a link in the chat box, but also put the caveat that I've heard that Zoom updates are making Zoom links sometimes not work. So be sure to follow ImpactTulsa, and we will keep the links up to date and relevant, but I will put the link that we've created so far for our second ICAP Chat again, which is June 25th at 10 a.m. with Kim Cootie. I want to now just say again, a huge thank you, Estella. Wow, such a fantastic presentation, such great information. For everybody who joined us today, we hope to see you again. I'll also put my information in the chat box in case anybody has a follow-up question. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up our time together. If you want to stay and ask questions, I will be here, and we'll hopefully see you next time.